With the workshop of Brilliant Light, the new set is in full effect, and so we're all going off hunting our way. Well, I say that, it seems that people are, I guess, struggling, and you know what, I can't even blame you, because even on easy, you know, it is pretty difficult, you know, not to say the least, so there's that. Normal, boys, I've tried my absolute best. God forbid this is difficult, but well, I know that when I get it done, the feel of it is going to be just tenfold. So it is what it is. We'll get there. We'll get there. But either way, best thing I can suggest is that if you're capable of actually completing easy, just keep on running it, and then just make sure that you're stacking up. Because at this current moment of time, we want to get the new set, and the way they've kind of gone about it to do it so that it's officially an 8 set is that even with the accessory side of things of the newer set, we can still have the sets effect the same on either side. Meaning, if we run, let's say, for example, the breaker set, and still have our main gear set, so we're changing up the accessory side, of course, we could do that, and that does open up a lot of variety. So that's exactly what we're going to be going over. Another thing which I want to quickly mention while we're here is obviously the salvage shop. This is I don't know how I feel about this, because I kind of feel like I got scammed, because in order to salvage, you have to salvage artifacts that are +1. Now if you do salvage an item that is +1, because I was going to go about and just do +1s on everything, you get barely any salvage points. I was like, huh, let me +1 the gold. Barely anything. What the frick? So realistically, it is like the level 15s and the level 10s and whatnot that are providing you with the most. So if there's any accessories that you're just seeing that you're not going to use, because I had a few accessories that I just leveled up just for the sake of leveling them up, just to see if I get lucky with RNG, but got really bad RNG on the substats, so managed to get rid of those. And yeah, through that, of course, you can get the curse set within the shop. I've just got the boots left to pick up, but there are other things to get, but they're pretty expensive to the amount of artifacts that you have to sell. So this shop was coming in hot. They might want to tone down the salvage, and we'll say that much. But anyway, just kind of wanted to throw that out there just so that you guys can get your artifacts. But anyway, coming back to the artifacts in question. So thankfully they've also updated this. Oh my, yo, the UIs they've updated so beautifully. So obviously we've got the burning curse, we've got the burning greed, and we've got the burning blessing. So this does change things up. So as you guys can see with the burning curse, I kind of leveled it up just a tad bit, of course. So there's that, and just to kind of see what I would get on the last slot. And healing given makes its return. How lovely! But I mean, the chest piece and the headpiece, low-key not too bad, to be honest. And I'll get into that why. So in terms of this specific gear set, who's it best for? Right, so let's just take a look on what is being said. So when you apply a 2 set of this curse set, it increases the damage taken by 20%. We don't like that. However, it also increases the damage dealt by 10% and additionally increases damage dealt by 0.1% every 1 second, stacking up to 100 times, and this is a permanent buff. So all in all, with a 2 set, it's a 20% trade-off to a 20% trade-off. So 20% increased damage, 20% increased attack, because 0.1% every 1 second stacks up to 100 times. That equates to 10%. So it's a 20-20, pretty much. Pretty standard for that 2 set. Again, it's a curse, so kind of makes sense why we've got that increased damage taken right there. So furthermore, moving along, when we run a 4 set of it, it applies the rescue effect. If the user has 25% HP or less, they recover 25% of their HP. This only activates once per dungeon. So pretty much once you get to the 25% mark of your HP, it will automatically just bump up your health with an additional 25%, like straight off the bat. It's not something that will just generate over time. Boom, there it is. And this only activates once per dungeon. So it's a one-time deal, which is kind of, this is pretty standard with most times, every time you see this type of recovery. And then once you run an 8 set, which is now completing the whole left and right side of the gear sets, the curse effect enhances to burning curse. So the increase the user's damage taken by 20%, so that stays the same. However, the damage dealt increase goes up by 20%, so now you're getting 30% in total. But additionally, the increased damage that you get over time goes up by 0.1%, so now it's at 0.2% every 1 second for and stacks up to 100 times. So now that's 20%. So all in all, you're getting an increased damage dealt of 50%. That is a big ass trade-off, and we take those. Unavailable to activate the curse effect. That makes sense. Yeah, and it's permanent. All right. So that is pretty much how this set is working. Now this set is very specific because realistically, you are catering more for a character that can benefit from losing HP. Now, to be honest, could you apply this onto anyone? I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, the only trade-off is that you're going to be taking more damage quite easily, plus 20%. However, the trade-off is, of course, if you can run an 8 set, which is advisable, because that 50%, you know, you can't sleep on. But that 50% is big, and so, again, you can apply that onto any character. Preferably with this set, it's going to be going to, as of right now, predominantly one character, and this is why I'm kind of happy with some of the stats that I managed to get, and it is going to be Beast. Now, of every character that we have, Beast is going to be the one that is going to be benefiting the most from this set, purely because in his skill set alone, he is also draining his own HP. Through that, of course, he is buffing himself up, allowing him to do more damage through his basic attacks. Obviously, he also bumps up his speed. If you have him in the dupe department, obviously the first skill does help out in terms of buffing up his crits, crit rate and crit damage. With the loss of HP, that then correlates into him being able to do more damage, so that's kind of beneficial. So that 4 set Loki can ruin him a tad bit, because of course he's gaining health, although he's going to be losing health as he gains health, so it is what it is. So eventually he'll get back down to that 25%. But pretty much with this character, to have a gear set where it's obviously making so that he is taking damage, it is impacting him through his skill set wise for him to do more damage, and on top of that, that trade-off with that 50% increase in the artifacts department, yeah, that is pretty solid. Now, when it comes to the gear sets, you got to realize that with the Burning Greed gear set, the left and the right side of it have the same effect. Wait, do I not have any accessories? Hello? Ah, I got the necklace. There we go. So yeah, even the necklace, it will still have the same effect, even if it was on the left side. So if you just want to run a 4 set, so that way you've got usage out of that plus 20%, then you can do so. But realistically, is the trade-off really worth it? Because ultimately, what we're looking at here, because I've got a 4 set of the Berserker set, yeah, HP condition changes to 70%. So if my HP is 70% or less, I then get the 30% increase. And for Beast, you can quite easily reach that immediately. So already I'm getting 10% more, and I'm not having to deal with to take the increased damage of 20% to get the 20%, where I can just play it as is, let my kit do its thing, and then once I hit that 70% mark, I'm getting 30%. So in terms of this Burning Curse set, realistically, it is the 8 set that is going to be the big seller, should I say. And then through that, of course, you would have to take up the left side. Now, of course, I've got the crit side of things. The optimal set that most are probably running is the Solid Foundation, which is completely understandable in terms of helping out with the basic attack as well as the core damage, but more for the basic attack because you do buff that up with the attack speed, of course. To be fair, actually, at the very least, you know what? You could probably run the Burning Greed set on his gear set side, on the left side. To be fair, so that way you get that 20%. You've got that HP recovery rescue effect. You're still gaining the 30% from the Berserker set, so that's 50% there. Hey, you can cheat the system. you can cheat the system. But I would say that, you know, other DPS units can also benefit from it if you are just trying to get that 20%. But depending on where they're at with like the amount of dupes they have and the way they play out, you know, is it really worth getting that 20% or that? Is it really worth doing that 20-20 trade-off? In most situations, it doesn't really look like it. I mean, Beast, in my opinion, is kind of like the only unit that I would probably really apply it onto, only because once again he is working off from losing HP, so him getting that increased damage taken by 20%, I mean, it's going to benefit him because that then sets him up more quicker to allow him to do more damage, of course. So that's kind of that. But I think for the most part, as I was going over every single character, specifically the DPS characters, I mean, I would, to be honest, I wouldn't mind testing a Dongso, to be honest. I mean, everyone else, I'm just like, I'm pretty comfortable with where their gear set is at right now. Because it's pretty solid. But I mean, I could probably switch it up, take off the arm set, give him the 20-20. So that might be something. But for the most part, I feel like with ranged units also. Oh well, Nami's a breaker, and she already has the other set. Anna? No, Anna's also... Well, I mean, technically speaking... Wait, does Anna have break on her? No, she does, but it's only weak break.
I need to recoup.
I feel like ranged users might also benefit from this. Because that way, you know, you're keeping your distance, and you've got that 20% increased damage kind of out the way, because you're keeping your distance, you know? I feel like a ranged DPS unit could benefit quite nicely. Maybe Libora. That's if you want that extra 20%. But to be fair, if I didn't have Choi, because realistically, Choi's alternative gear set for the right side is actually what you call it, the armed set, and then the left set, I think most people go for the Executioner set. I mean, you could potentially run an 8 set, to be honest, because Choi's keeping his distance, right? And to get that extra that 50% increase in that actually wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I feel like Choi could also use it in some way. I mean, it could work. It could, because the 20% always stays even on an 8 set. Yeah, if I didn't have an A5, then I probably would have run that. So if you don't have an A5 Choi, man, then, you know, you got the curse set to mess about. But predominantly with the skill set, with the character, Beast right now is kind of like the best optimal for that specific set. Yeah, like DPSs can really benefit from it, and if they keep in range too, yeah. I feel like Khan can also, yeah, I feel like he can also gain usage from that set too. Interesting. That is the curse set. All right, that's the curse set that you can purchase from the salvage shop as well as obtain through the workshop, the Brilliant Light. But it's not the set that I'm after. No. But I just kind of wanted to go over that and just kind of go over a specific unit that can really benefit from it, as well as just throw in a few other names so that we can test out with. But yeah, Lim, nah, I wouldn't give it to Lim, to be honest. Nah, I mean, well, technically you can, but he's kind of like the Dark Breaker, and I would prefer more support for that. To be fair, you can set him up quite nicely to full-on support Beast DPS, but we'll have to talk about that in a separate video. But yeah, that's 1/3 of the new gear set that I just kind of wanted to go over. We'll look at the 2 other sets. I tried my best to do it all in one video, but the videos are going to be way too long because I'm just going to ramble away. So anyway, that's the curse set.